the coaching speech heading into this game?
The great thing about these games, you don't have to make a speech. They know. I think they know the opportunity in front of them. These are kind of the easier games to prepare for. That sounds crazy, but just players are on high alert and ready to go, and it's more about just keeping a even keel, keeping our understanding what we need to do, and keeping that kind of serene, focused play that we've been doing all year.
A lot of people have made this like best offense versus best defense, right? We know that's a storyline, but how much more intricate is tonight's game than just that?
It's a lot more intricate than that, because I know we're concerned about how do we stop them a lot. Right, there's two sides to the ball. Like they're really good offensively. They got the MVP candidate in Shea. You got to stop him, and then they know how to attack your weak defenders, and so for us it's we understand the difficulties on both sides of the ball. So I don't to narrow it down to those those two things. I think that's too simplified.
Chris.
Hey Kenny, how do you maintain your offensive integrity when you're playing against a switch-heavy defense?
Yeah, we definitely have principles against the switch. Like each game we go into, we analyze how the other team plays, and we've seen a fair amount of switching this year, so it's nothing new. But we definitely have different ways we attack depending on who we're playing.
And then you've used the term test, and a lot of guys have talked about this being a test coming into tonight's game. You're the number one team in the NBA. You have been for a majority this season. Why do you look at these kinds of games as tests for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's like Boston and the elite teams. You understand that you get probably more realistic playoff feedback, if that makes sense, because pretty sure they're going to be in the mix. That's a different test than playing maybe a non-playoff team or a team that's not in the mix. So it's a huge feedback game. I think that's why I'm really excited about the game. See, test us. Where are we? Where are we against the elite teams? Same thing with Boston. It was the same mentality. We got great feedback, and now we're going to play OKC in 2 weeks too. So and then you can build and improve off of that, off the feedback from that. I'm not saying we're going to change our system, but man, hey, maybe we face elite teams like this in the playoffs. Here's some adjustments or little things we can work on to improve.
Thank you.
Tim, I know you said it's an easy game to prepare for, and I know it's only a game in the second week of January, but
yeah.
How much fun has the last couple of days have been where you guys have gotten a ton of attention, and there's been a lot of focus on the way these two teams are playing, obviously the historic nature of the starts you both have had, and just kind of the spotlight it's given you guys.
Tim, it's so awesome. It's like you're in the NCAA tournament. It's like, man, we got it. Like, there's that type of buzz. Especially Cleveland's a great sports city, and everybody's buzzing about it, and there's I just like just a heightened kind of feeling around the city, which is pretty cool. So, Tim, I don't want us to take like the easy game to prepare for in terms of the mental side, not tactically. Just Serena, just to clear that up. It's more. Yeah. Okay. I know.
I got you.
Okay.
But from that standpoint, does it also give you a chance to see what your team will look like and how it will respond in a playoff type atmosphere from that standpoint too? Because there has been a lot of build up to it, and it's not just a typical regular season game between a couple good teams.
Yeah, we were even talking about the crowd noise, right, and hand signals. Which normally we don't. We have a great crowd, as you know well, but there are things you have to think about and talk about. It is a little bit different, and I'll go back to my Steve Kerr experiences. He would always in the big games, he'd try to calm the assistants down. He was cool, but he's like, guys, he would would text me, hey man, let's this is a big game, but let's we got to keep as a staff we got to keep focused. So there's stuff like that I've learned along the way about playing in big games like this.
Tom.
Thanks, BJ. Coach, tactically and philosophically, do you try to impose your will on teams? I mean, you're moving the chess pieces out there. Are you more reactionary, or are you taking it to them?
This is definitely about us. I think regular season too. This isn't all of a sudden we switched our process. Like, oh man, we're gonna like scout these guys like crazy. It wasn't like a playoff scout. I think it's still Cavs focused. How can we get better? This is what we do. Let's do it. Sure, you have your tactical things depending on the obviously on the opponent tonight, but it's more like and what's great, the fun thing about this game, and I don't know, but it's kind of two contrasting styles, right? Which makes it even more more interesting. But we got to play. I think we have to come and play in Cavs basketball, and then we get feedback from that, like. This Cavs basketball, kind of, how does it function against the best teams?
At the top of your board, what do they do best?
Oh, yeah, like they turn you over, and then they, even watching them against balls, like close game, whenever they start turning you over, and we all know turnover leads to the best kind of opportunities in our game, right? You turn someone over, now it's layup, it's open threes, so. But again, I don't want I want our guys to play the way we play and our style, and we'll see. We've been really good at taking care of the ball. We got great ball security, but it's really going to be a challenge tonight. So that's if you say one thing, their overall defense and turning teams over.
Dan.
As far as you guys defensively, obviously Shea takes more mid-range than a lot of guys in the NBA. Do you have to change how you approach what you're doing defensively with him because of that compared to other star players?
Yes. Yeah, same thing with Hardenstein. Like most people, you're living with floaters. You're not, he's 51% on those shots. We know the numbers. We know Shea's mid-range numbers. This is, it's different. That is the tweaks you make. Like, hey, we gotta. On Shea's mid-range, you got to get like a great contest. When Isaiah shoots that floater, you got to get a great contest. So maybe with other teams, okay, we'll live with that. Still contest, but we'll live with that. That's one of the challenges of playing a great team.
And then with Evan, we talked the other day about his three-point volume going up and how it's a confidence thing for him. But how do you see that when he's shooting as often as he is from beyond the arc change the rest of the offense?
I think it's still probably undervalued by all of us. I think his gravity is huge. He took 6. He went for 6 last game, and I was just thrilled. Like, sure, you wanted to make 4 for 6, but just the fact that he took 6 of them, and it to me, he's taken some contested ones too. And at 6'11", 7 foot, like those contested ones, because he's so big and long, like they're still good shot in my opinion, right? This if we could argue about it, but I think it's as he continues to feel comfortable, and then with the threes there's a closeout portion. So now now they got to run at you instead of just kind of waiting in the paint and helping on that. Now they're starting to run at him, and now he can show it and get into his closeout game, which we know he's pretty skilled in that area.
I know you said it's not a playoff scout by any means, but what have you noticed? What stood out about Jalen Williams, 25 and 5 guy at 23?
It's funny, you better be careful being too Shea centric, because if you're too Shea centric, he's gonna drop 35 on you. So it's a little bit like us, right? Like we, stop Darius. Donovan could go all. When you have 2 elite guards, it just makes it a harder guard for us. We just can't focus on Shea. It's not that type of team. You got Jalen. He's just he's one of these elite point forwards, modern point forwards who's strong like a center, but skilled like a guard. Really tough matchup with that kind of dynamic duo they have.